because everybody came to see us.
Right.
I was even blessed. I met Ozzie Davis in prison when I was getting my master's degree. He came to see me. We sat down, talked for a long time. He talked about Malcolm and all that, but it was a lot of things that he didn't know. And we were able just to exchange ideas and get a good feeling.
Right.
You know, so being in prison is not necessarily the end of the world, but especially for the youth, they need to understand something. It's a nasty place to be. They have what they call the doomsday hour. Now, I don't care how many hip-hop videos you see, they won't show you that part. Because the doomsday hour was sometimes like, say you're locking in a block like A block or B block in Sing Sing. Now, this is one of the biggest blocks in the world, where they got over 700 something inmates in one block. And you can imagine the amount of noise this 40 is. Right? And then everybody just laughing and playing. And all of a sudden, one person will come on the tier. If it's an imam, if it's a minister, if it's the rabbi, if it's the priest, the whole joint get quiet. I mean, dead quiet. And people that's claiming to be, I mean, complete atheists and everything, you'll find them on their knees praying all kinds of things behind. It gets so quiet. And you wonder what's going on. All of them know. To an outsider, you wouldn't know, but all of them know. They call them the bearer of bad news. And everybody's praying, don't stop in my cell. Because whatever he got to tell you ain't nothing good. If he coming to see you, and it's at the lock-in time,
yes, sir,
it's the worst thing in the world. You feel so helpless, it's unbelievable. Because all he going to say is, your mother died, your father died, your brother died, your sister died, your wife got killed, your son got killed, your daughter got killed. Sometimes your whole family got killed. And that's when you really realize what it's like to have lost your freedom, where you can't even do anything about it. Where you're almost to the point where they may tell you, well, we'll give you a phone call tomorrow. They may not even know how they died, anything. You know? And like, this is what made me see just how serious it was when you lose your freedom. To see a person suffer in prison year after year after year for something that they say they didn't do. It's a terrible thing.
yes, sir.
I know that. I got convicted of 3 people I never saw in my life, alive nor dead. But that's the way it goes. I mean, that's the hand I was dealt. And then the kind of sentence, especially that black and Hispanics get and poor whites, it's nothing like them. They tell you, they sit there and they play this thing about law and order and everything else. But here's a black man or a Spanish man or a poor white man that gets locked up. It's like Johnny Cochran said, you're not guilty until they find out you broke. Has nothing to do with being innocent. And they give them 25 to life, maybe for a self-defense crime. Because of them, self-defense is according to how they feel about who died. If they like them, it's murder. Right. If they didn't like them, it's self-defense. And most of the time for us, it's murder. And then you have the nerve, you lock a person up, and you get them 25 to life for something they didn't do. They say they didn't do it. And they can't get out one day before 25 years is completed. Not even one day earlier. They can't be trusted no type of way. But here's another man who worked for John Gotti. His name is Sammy the Bull. He kills 19 people.
Think about it.
Which they call a serial killer. Premeditated, planned murders. Admits it. And they gave him 5 years. And they say he can be trusted back in the street after 5 years. And he killed 19 people, murdered them. But this man can't be trusted over here, who was accused of killing one person. We don't even know if he did it or not, but he was convicted, and we have to go by the conviction. He can't be trusted for 25 years. Something wrong with that kind of law. Something is seriously wrong with that kind of law.
I agree.
See, because when you look at this is nothing new. I told this to administrators in Albany when I had a chance to speak with them. We went to the big shot party. They always take the ones that graduated and got the master degrees and all. They take us to the big shot people and show us off. And they want you to say how glad you are to be out and thank you and everything else. I thank them. I appreciate them considering me after 28 years. But I also tell them, I'm one that wants to speak for the guy that isn't here. Because the reason why I got out, because a lot of good brothers in there helped me to do the right thing. And that's what I'm talking about, in prison. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go to prison to find out what kind of man you are. And don't let nobody con you into thinking that. Because they got people in prison that need to be there. And the way some of them act, if I had my choice, I'd take the TV, everything, and demand you go to school, get yourself together, learn a few trades, and then you can get out. That way they wouldn't come back.
Right.
Because it's not a good feeling when you're in a situation where 87% of the people there come from your neighborhood. But everybody there supervising you, none of them come from your neighborhood. You know, none of them come from your neighborhood. And I know what it's like to do good, to do good, to do good, even in the face of adversity. And nobody give you credit for it but God. But my complete faith was in my Lord. I didn't ask nobody to help me. Only ask God. So whoever he used as an instrument to help me, I appreciate it, but I know where it originated from. And you meet all kinds of people in there. There are guards in there that are black. Can you believe this? I was in prison 28 years. You know what I've never seen? I've never seen a black police hit a white man.
Is that right?
And I've seen white inmates spit in the police face, all kinds of stuff. But I've seen black police, and I'm not talking about the majority of them. Most of them I love, most of them is all right. But they got some in there that are worse than any Ku Klux Klanman you could ever think of. And they use them in ways that's so despicable, they make Uncle Tom look like a Black Panther. And I told them in their face, you know what, they used to have a little white lieutenant. He was always sicking them on somebody black or Hispanic. And I told all of them one day, you know what, I've been here 28 years. You know what I never seen? I never seen you hit a white man. In your nature, you know you ain't supposed to do it. But you killed so many of us, man, your whole body is flooded with blood and resentment. And that's why when they jump on these kids out there, I got a problem with that. You hollering and yelling every time a white cop or another cop kills a black youth. Hey, it's wrong, yeah. But the truth of the matter is 85 out of every 86 kids that get killed are killed by another brother, by another black man. And nobody's saying nothing about that. Now, where should the emphasis be? When you gonna stop that? What got into the minds? We come back out here and look at them guys, can't seem that they can't wait to kill somebody look like them. What happened to your mind? What happened to the nation? What happened to the pride? What happened to the Million Man March spirit and all? What makes you think it's all right to sit up in a studio and boast about how you blazed my brother? You know, cause the Ku Klux Klan to retire, y'all doing such a good job getting rid of each other. And it hurts. I don't feel good when I see this. Walking down the street with your pants hanging off and this and that and other. Your old brother, it may look slick now, but you telling people that no, don't even count me in the leadership arena. Bar me out of there. Using terms like my nigga. Do you know where it come from? Because on Saturday night in slavery, they had the heavyweight fights. This plantation against this plantation. And they make two of the biggest brothers fight until one of them was beat to death. And whichever one of them was still alive, the slave master would come up and put his hands around his shoulder and say, this is my nigga.
Go ahead and teach.
So why would you want, I don't want to keep that alive. I don't want to remind anybody of a time when you had that much superiority in the sense of enforcement over my people, where you had reduced them to the level where they beat each other. Every part of the land that we're walking on now was stolen. People murdered people to get this land. And to keep them from complaining and all, they established this land on the laws. How you think I feel? You living in a country, everything you got, you murdered somebody and took it. Then you make a law saying no murder. You steal from them, you make a law no stealing.
They violated every
You know,
law.
you lie to them about their God and everything, and then you make a law no lying. So the children, when they see the youth of the day, They're reading the history, and everything that you telling them is bad, you benefited from. Lying, stealing,
And
doing different things,
That's right.
manipulating people, manipulating history. Because most of the leaders are nothing but cringing cowards.
That's right.
They ain't got no nerve. And when you do get one with some nerve, they want you to hate him. What I love about Imam W.D. Muhammad, he showed me how to study all these minds. And then he said, you have to do like my father did. You have to make decisions that's best for your situation, for your people. And you have to be steadfast. You have to stick to it. You be whining and crying every 5 minutes about laying on the ground and you laying there. People stepping over you, well, get up. You ain't no worm.
That's right.
I don't want them to give me nothing.
That's what they say. Allah never change your condition till you change it
No,
yourself.
that's it.
That's
See,
right.
because Allah ain't no sucker.
Nope.
People ask me, what do I do in prison? Just work. Work on guys. Keep guys out of trouble. Guys that come to us, people trying to make a homo out, trying to do that. And we would say, well, brother, you have to understand something. This man over here living a wild man life, he only does that to people that he thinks are vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the use of going to him, telling him to leave you alone if you're going to continue to hang out in his surroundings and do what he do? Now, if you're ready to make a change in your life, if that's not what you want to be, then you have to straighten yourself up. You have to go to the law library and learn about your case. Go to school, get an education. Go find you a religion that you're comfortable with. It don't have to be us, because we protected many people that didn't say they were Muslims. We looked at it as an honor that they would come to us and ask us to intervene. And it's not the idea that these guys were scared of us and all that were out there doing these things, but they had to respect us because we have been so consistent in what we do that they loved us. They just weren't strong enough to stop doing them stupid, nasty things that they do. We used to get on them all the time. Go right to them and tell them, man, when you gonna get yourself together? I'm like high noon judgment. You still acting like a moron. Nobody got no respect for you. You don't even respect yourself. Time you look up your mother's word because you in some trouble in jail. Here you are in trouble in jail. Now I'm going to censor that, man. You've been here 15 years. You don't even have a high school diploma. Then when you go before the parole board, what are you going to tell them? That you worked in the bakery? Because they're going to ask you, how are you going to be competitive in life? What have you done to show them that it's feasible for us to think that you can make it out there in a competitive society? That's what used to make them think. Mm-hmm. That's how we spend our time. We develop programs. We develop all kinds of literacy awareness. You know, volunteer literacy aware. If a guy was illiterate, he could be 35 years old. We sat down and got little books, first grade books, and taught him and taught him and taught him. And the guard saw it in the yard, and we went to the administrators about it. Administrators said, well, what we can do is develop a program, give us classrooms so we can teach him. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did. We developed other programs, alternative to violence. They say the Pilgrims did it. I mean, not the Pilgrims, but the Quakers did it. The Quakers came in and took advantage of it. The Quakers are the one who built the penitentiary. That idea comes from them.
Is that right?
Yes.